Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about Stool Pigeon. This is designed by Nate Miller and it is published by Barrel Age Games. But before we talk about that, we just want to remind you to subscribe so you can see all of our videos and all the stuff we have going on as it comes out.
In this game, we are families of mob pigeons.
Mob pigeons. Animaniac style.
Yeah.
Remember them? They were fun.
Mob pigeons, a normal everyday theme for a board game.
Obviously, yes.
But you know how mob families do? We're committing crimes, we're doing all these bad stuff. We're not good birds, we're bad birds.
Bad birds. You think all birds are bad birds.
I do think all birds are bad birds. Get away from me. You belong in the sky. Birds are for the birds. You heard it here first, folks. Birds are for the birds. No, but we have a crime scene, and at that crime scene, we have witnesses. So the goal of this game was we are trying to get rid of as many witnesses as we can, having the fewest amount of witnesses hanging around who have seen the crimes happen, you know what I'm saying? So it's a card-shedding game with a little bit of memory and speed element, as you're trying to get rid of as many cards as possible before the round ends. Let me give you a quick overview of how to play. Alright, here's our setup for Stool Pigeon. Every player is going to get a tableau of 4 cards in front of them, and that is their crime scene. We have our draw deck, and next to it, we'll eventually have our discard pile. Every player is also going to get a player aid, which describes all the different cards that you might come across and what they do for you. On the back, there's also a distribution of all the cards, how many there are in the deck, so you kind of know what to expect. Now, the goal of the game is to get your tableau, your crime scene, to be as small as possible, to have as few cards in it as possible, but more importantly, to have the smallest amount of numbers in your tableau. You're going to be doing that a variety of ways by using different card actions and kind of card play to make that happen, but also there's kind of a speed game that happens whenever a witness is discarded and put into the play area. The first person who plays a witness card that matches that card exactly gets a chance to remove a witness from their crime scene automatically for free. Alright, so some of the cards you might come across are the Kingpin. The Kingpin is really strong. First of all, it's just a 1 by itself, but if you use it to play, it can add or eliminate a card. So, meaning you can either remove one of your own cards, or you can add a card from the top of the deck to an opponent's area. We have the Vendetta card. This one says, sneak a peek and swap a card. This is a great way to get some information, move some things around. Alright, we have the Bamboozle card. This says, put a good old switcheroo, move some things around. That's a fantastic card. The Stool Pigeon itself, take a peek at any card. More information, obviously. The Meatball. The Meatball is basically a witness card, but it's just a 0. A 0 is a great card. Obviously, it's going to be a no effect on your score at the end of the game. The Rat is an interesting card. The Rat is not worth anything. However, if you ever accidentally play the Rat's going to come right back to you. So you want to memorize where this is. And then lastly, we have the witnesses themselves. Witnesses are just the card values. You're trying to get as small of the card values as possible in your tableau, in your crime scene. At the beginning of the game, these are dealt out blindly. Do not look at them. But then, once and only once at the beginning of the game, the bottom 2 cards you're allowed to look at, you have to memorize them. All right, so we've got a number 4 witness over there, and we've got a number 10 witness over here. So we have to memorize that, and know that we've got a 4 and a 10. We do not know those top 2 cards as values. So what's going to happen on our turn is, we're going to draw a card, we're going to look at it, we've got a Kingpin, that's fantastic. What we're going to do is we're going to swap out one of the cards in our area with this. We have to memorize where we put this. We know this information. Let's get a little bit more information by removing this, putting that Kingpin in its place, and then discarding this. Now this is the action that we would do. In this case, it's just a 7. It's a 7 witness. If we or any other players had a 7 witness that they knew about, they'd be able to quick rush and try to discard it and eliminate that from their crime scene. Alright, so let's say after I turn again. Alright, so we drew a 4 witness. We've got a big high card right here, a 10. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. A couple things are going to happen. First of all, we're going to put this here. We're going to discard our 10. And now anybody who had that 10 there, they are going to try to rush and get rid of their card. But first of all, we lowered our score here, which is fantastic. But now we know, because we placed this here, we have a 4 witness here that we just placed. We have a 4 witness here that we had at the beginning of the game. So on our next turn, we might draw a card. We might swap it out with something. Actually, let's swap it out with this one. What's going to happen is we'll play a 4, and then we're going to rush and try to play our other 4, and that way we can get rid of 2 cards at once. Only the first person who discards their witness actually gets to get rid of it. And if you ever make a mistake while you're trying to get rid of a witness, you pulled the wrong card, or whatever the case is, you have to put everything back where it was, and you need to draw a card off the top of the deck, add it to your tableau as kind of a penalty. There's no limit to how many cards you can have in your area. So if you make a lot of mistakes, or people are kind of using those kingpin cards to add to you, you might end up with 5, 6, 7 cards in front of you. Towards the end of the game, once you have some information about what your cards are, you have an idea of how many cards everybody else has. What you can do is, instead of taking a turn, you can knock. Knocking basically means you are signaling the end of the game. Every other player is going to get a chance to take one last turn. At that point, everyone's going to flip over their cards, and we're going to add up our score, and whoever has the lowest score wins the game. In this case, we had a score of 9, which is not too bad.
I've played games similar to this, but I like how in this game there's these special ability cards. But here's something I also like about those special ability cards. You get a reference card, and you're thinking, this is such a short little card game. Why do you need a reference card? That's exactly why you need a reference card. So if somebody plays a card, and you don't have to be like, oh, what did you play? I can't see. You can reference your card. I just appreciate that a lot. There are games I play where I'm like, where's the reference? Where's the reference card? Oh, it's on the back sheet, and we all have to share it. All 4 of us have to share
lucky.
that. Oh my gosh. So I just really like, even though it seems like it's such a simple game, that you still give me a reference card. Thank you.
This has a memory element to it that I think is really fun because sometimes you might not play the card that you were intending to play because things got mixed around, moved around, whatever the case is. So you have the cards in front of you. You only know what 2 of them are at the start of the game, but then you're constantly swapping things out. The card that you draw is not the card that you play. The card you draw goes into your tableau, and then you play the card that you replaced. So you are constantly changing things out, swapping things around, trying to keep track of what all you have going on in your tableau, what information you know, what information you don't know yet. And it's really fun and easy to get messed up, which can lead to some pretty hilarious moments.
There is also no limit to how many cards you can have in front of you. So you start with the 4. You can get less as well, but you can also just like really mess up and get a lot of cards with you, which totally sucks. But here's the nice thing about that. If you get like completely hosed in this game, it's not a long game. And so it's not like, there are games where you play that and if you're just getting beaten down and beaten down and beaten down and it's going on forever, it's just not a fun time. But this one, it's so short, you can be totally hosed in a round and just like play another game right away. It doesn't like stick with you. It doesn't stay with you because of how fast it is, how silly it is, and how quickly it plays. If you have a bad game, that's just it. And you move on with your life.
Eliminating witnesses is one of the fastest and best ways to get rid of some of your cards in front of you. And the way you do that is, like I mentioned earlier, when someone plays a witness card, if you have the exact same witness somewhere in your crime scene, you quick slap it, you pick it up and slap it on the table as fast as possible. Yeah. It has to be an exact match. We had a situation in one of our games where there was a 5, but it wasn't a 5 witness.
Yeah.
So 5 witness got played, and I think it was you. You played your 5 from your crime scene, but it wasn't the right exact match. And again, it led to some hilarious moments. I like that speed element kind of mixed with the memory element as for these twisty interactions in your brain. It's just a lot of silly fun.
Yeah. This I actually really liked this game. I thought it was simple. I thought it was fun. It actually reminded me of a card game from my youth. You know how when you play card games, they're like called different things in different regions? So whatever this card game is called wherever you're from, but it's that game where you have 4 cards in front of you and you look at the middle 2 and then you're trying to draw cards and try to get the lowest amount. We called it golf growing up, and then whenever you thought you had the lowest amount you called golf, and then the other people had 1, 2, or 3 more turns left depending on who you played with. So I like that this game reminded me of my childhood because it reminded me of that game, but it also blended what I enjoy about contemporary gaming as well. So I really enjoyed seeing those 2 things come together.
I honestly, upon seeing the title of this game, thought it was going to be silly and frivolous and, going to be a write-off.
Yeah, bad silly, not fun silly.
It turns out it is silly and it is frivolous, but in a good way.
Yeah.
It's just a silly card game. It knows what it is. It's not trying to be this heavy strategy game or whatever the case is. It's just a silly, light, fun family card game that you can play with anybody. I ended up enjoying this way, way more than I thought I would.
Yeah, it was a good time. Everybody, thank you so much for watching it. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
You guys, thanks so much for watching. This game was provided to us by a publisher in exchange for a fair and honest review.
And if you want to see more stuff, check out over here to see something we think you might like.
And over here, we think that YouTube has picked out a great video for you you're going to love. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.